Welcome to abombtozzzax. With me, Colin Holt. And my friends, Dan Snellgrove and Jamie Firth. Here they come! Hello, welcome back to abombtozzzax, my favorite Marvel character, where we go through every single Marvel character there's ever been on the Marvel Unlimited app, which you can get if you want to read along, and we talk about them, discuss them, dissect them. We don't dissect them. Well, I suppose we do in a sense. Talk about their powers, their characters, and which one is the best. It's a very odd thing for three men in their 40s to be doing. We're all in our 40s now, thank God. Oh, thank God we're in our 40s at last. And, but, you know, and there's a lot going on in the world, which is really important and much more important than this. But this is what we've chosen to do, and it's a lot of fun. We're having a lot of fun. Now, today, this week, last week we talked about Magneto. We jumped ahead in the queue, but we're still in the A's technically. This week we're talking about three characters. We're bunching them together because we want to get through to at least get to B before we inevitably give up or die. And, or we start making a million, in which case we're going all the way to Zzzax, you know. But this week we're talking about three of, well, I think probably the most pivotal characters in the Marvel universe, whether you're a Marvel head junkie, whether you're someone who just watches the movies or someone who absolutely hates superheroes, in which case, why are you listening to this? But you will have definitely heard of these three linchpins of the Marvel universe. If I say Achilles, Aero, and Destine, delightfully named Destine. Now, who, much like Achilles, I am Colin Holt, and much like Achilles, I appear in a few TV shows and people go, were you in that? Happens to be a surprising amount. You know, oh, I don't remember you being in that. Yes, I was a pivotal character. And much like Destine, Jamie is as old as the hills and made love to a genie. And Anne, who can control his own wind. It's Dan Snellgrove, the wonderful Dan Snellgrove. Hello, boys. Lovely to have you.
Hi.
I worked on that introduction. That's the first introduction I worked on. When I say I worked on it, I walked around Birmingham Shopping Centre, the Bull Ring, thinking it. So I worked on it. Yes, what an introduction. I'm going to do that every week now. That was so good.
That absolutely paid off.
It really paid off, didn't it? The work I spent. I'm currently in Birmingham doing gigs at the Birmingham Glee. Birmingham's mad, isn't it? I always forget how mad it is. It's basically, for people who don't know Birmingham, it's, from what I understand, I'm sure there's much more to it. It's absolutely massive, but it's basically just loads of shopping centres shoved together that you get lost in for hours. It's very hard not to get lost in those shopping centres, and people sort of trying to sell you perfumes and all that. And you're like, get away, get away. You know, it's a very stressful scenario, really. But I got out and I got back with my breakfast, and now I am ready to rock and talk about these three wonderful characters. We'll start with the first, Achilles, who appeared in Incredible Hulk. Jamie, do you have the... I've got it here. Incredible Hulk 379. That's the original Incredible Hulk. As we state every time, annoyingly, a lot of these comics reboot every now and again. So you have to say which volume of the Incredible Hulk this is. This is the original volume 379. The cover has a really image of Hulk, sort of like, God, no, my kids listen to this, but it is his face, isn't it? I think that we're looking at there. I mean, possibly. It just pops in my head.
Having a poo, maybe.
He's having a poo. He's having a poo. I'm not sure
That's
what
what
it's
he meant.
meant to be saying. So, Jamie, what did you think of this comic? Give us a quick rundown of what happens and where the hell is Achilles? He's like, where's Wally in this?
It is a bit, yes.
You'll miss
I think
him.
it's-
Or like
so-
one of my TV performances, as I said.
So Colin compiles the list of comics that we're set to read ahead of the show, and this one I did have to go through several times, thinking, has Achilles been in? Where is he?
Where is he?
He's a bit of a bit player, but yes, this one for me, it not only did it show up my terrible knowledge of the Marvel universe, but also of Greek mythology. So I was absolutely lost in both worlds, thinking, like trying to tie together little bits that I vaguely remember.
Is he called
Achilles,
Achilles?
he was, yes. And then there's Ajax or Ajax, if you're Dutch. That was a football joke. Should have known better, really.
Should have known better with us too.
Should have known better.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
But the scene is really set by introducing us to Delphi at the very beginning of the comic, and Paris, who I believe was the person that killed Achilles in Greek mythology.
In original
I think.
Greek. So I do have a lot of Greek knowledge. In fact, funnily enough,
Perfect.
I was writing about it this morning for the reboot of my my other podcast.
Greek
My wife
mythology.
told me to stop doing any podcasts. So in rebelling against my wife, I'm doing 3. But in my podcast, Into the Neuroverse, I was actually writing about this, but about Greek myths. But yeah, Paris was the one who stole Helen from the Trojans. And yes, he did kill Achilles. Achilles it was immortal, or not immortal, invulnerable in every place, including his willy, presumably.
Presumably.
He had an immortal willy and balls. And bum crack, because his mum, this is the real Achilles, okay, the Greek Achilles. His mum was, I do know too much about this. It was Thetis, okay?
Okay.
It was his mum's name, just a little bit of knowledge there. She was a sort of a naiad, is that what you call them? Or a dryad, I can't remember which. She's the water one, like a water spirit. Dan, you might know that. That's a bit of a D&D one, isn't it? Naiad, is it?
Yeah, Dryad's the wood one.
Dryad is wood. Okay. So I think she was probably told he was going to die. A lot of stories start where someone's told someone's going to die. So she dunked him in this thing.
The river.
I don't know
The river
what.
Styx, wasn't it?
Was it the River Styx?
I think so.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I always thought it was just some mud or something.
She held him by the ankle,
Yeah.
and where her fingers had been covering up his ankle, that's the only part of him that wasn't invulnerable, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did have an invulnerable bum crack.
Yes. Famously.
That would be, I'm just imagining the fun you'd have as a young boy if you were invulnerable in all places.
Well, the question is, could he
stab you in your bum and stuff?
Could he feel it? Because then, like, if people were playing that prank where they try and drop something down your bum crack, like, would he wouldn't even notice. He'd be a laughing stock. There'd be all sorts of
Is there
things
a prank
in
where
there.
people drop stuff down your bum crack?
Yeah, like coins and snowballs.
Does this happen to you a lot, Jamie? Does that
All the
happen to you
time.
as a middle-aged man?
All the time. Yeah.
Just sat on the bus.
Just
You
in
get off the
Asda.
bus and you're jingling. You walk. Some been put in. I swear someone's been put in a. I know. Sorry, children. Sorry, my children. Yes. So he was invulnerable everywhere. But yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? So there's the. God, we're just going into mythology now, but the Nordic mythology legend of Balder the Beautiful, you might know this one, where he couldn't be killed by anything. But that was because they went around and told everything, including stones and trees, not to kill Balder. So like just going up to trees and going, don't kill Balder, okay? And made everything
Pass on.
promise. Yeah, pass it on. And the one thing that didn't was mistletoe. And then Loki ends up killing him with I don't need to go into all that, with a dart of mistletoe. But with Achilles, I don't know. I think it was more like, it was, I don't know whether things would bounce off him. I know with Boulder there, because there's like a competition. They're all throwing stuff at him and it's all just like, I guess like the wood is refusing to hit him. So it moves away from him before it hits him. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a force field essentially, I guess. But with Achilles, I don't know. I don't know whether he would be hit and it just wouldn't, I don't know. But this Achilles isn't that Achilles anyway.
No.
And you did know more about Greek mythology than you made out. That was a very coy.
I mean, it was just a little something off the top of my head.
Oh God, I know nothing about Greek mythology. So she dipped him in the river Styx.
But I love the opening of this. So Delphi is talking to Paris and from off, he says, "What are you, woman, deaf?" And she replies, "Oh, I hear you, Paris. I'm just ignoring you." And that, I thought, really set the scene for this comic, which is absolutely ram full of jokes, like one-liners, pithy things off the cuff. So the basic premise of the comic is Hulk goes to a bar and almost gets into a bar fight, but doesn't because he's too strong, and they chicken out. And then all of these old Ajax and Achilles and a whole bunch of other Greek mythology people wander in, and it all was very confusing.
And they attack him. They're trying to, they want to capture him to join their group, I think. Is that right? Or they just come up to him and ask him, and then, they come up and ask him, and then he goes, "No, I don't want to join," goes outside, and then Ajax, who is actually like old Hulk. Yeah, I should point out Hulk at this point in Hulk's history is now brainy. He's got the Hulk's body, but he's brainy. But I think they say he's not exactly Bruce Banner. So it's not like he's Bruce Banner's personality, is he? He's sort of a merging of all of the personalities. Dan, do you want to jump in?
This was going to be one of my questions, actually, because it says he's a merging of 3 personalities. And I thought, okay, what? Banner, Hulk, and who's the third? What's going on here?
Oh, that must be Grey Hulk.
What?
Grey Hulk, who will meet another time. So the writer of this, as you say, it's all very sitcom-y and fun. But I think it's fun. I find it quite fun, but not as fun as I think it thinks it is, if you know what I mean. Like about halfway through, you're like, a bit bored now. But it's very quippy and silly. And the writer is Peter David, who we've met before. I think he wrote the wonderful one with the Abomination, where Hulk was shrunk. Yes, he did. So he was a writer on the Hulk for a very long time. And during that time, he did a lot of fun things. You know, some writers come along and they properly move the window, you know, and change the chessboard. Is that the phrase?
Yes, change the chessboard.
They change the chessboard. They make it diamonds instead of squares. And so he threw in a lot of fun stuff, one of which was to make the Hulk, at one point he turns grey and becomes a kind of, he calls himself Joe Fix-It. Mr. Fix-It. He becomes, it gets worse. He becomes an enforcer for the mob in Las Vegas. That's his job. And he is clever, but not clever like Banner. He's not brainy. He's not a scientist, but he's got street smarts. He's mean. He's a lot of fun. Funnily enough, I've talked to my actual therapist about this in detail. Because sometimes I find myself getting the personality of what I'm now calling Joe, as in Joe Fix-It, when I'm feeling a bit, you know, a bit mean and a bit like sod everyone else. You know what I mean? It's quite helpful. I find it quite helpful. It'd be interesting though where Peter David, I'd love to read an interview where he got all this from, whether it was him talking about his own life to some degree. Because there must be a point when you're writing 100 of these where you're like, your own life just comes into it all the time. There's a really funny, just to dive over for a sec, I think it might be Mike Friedrich. I think that was the writer. But this old, I read comics every day, as I'm sure you can imagine. But I got once this big book from the Library of Justice League from the 70s. Justice League is Superman, Batman, and all that, if you don't know. And this one writer had sort of put himself in the story, but he called himself like Harlequin Valentine. But he wasn't really like a super, he was just a dude who Black Canary, who's the sort of, you know, Black Widow of the Justice League, sort of falls in love with. And Green Arrow's really angry about it because he's her boyfriend. And she ends up going on this sort of affair with Harlequin Valentine, who is literally the writer. And then she ends up leaving him for Green Arrow, but she's like, "But you're a good man, and I'll always love you." And like, it's just a writer going mad. It's like someone just losing their mind. And at the end, he writes like a like a note. It's so weird, like to HV, as in Holocaust, keep fighting the good fight, buddy. But I can't remember why, but it's like very clear that he is Harlequin Valentine. Like
you're a great writer. Keep going.
It's literally like that. And it's like, you've written like 40 of these and you've just lost your mind. Apologies if it's not Mike Friedrich. It might be, I can't remember all their bloody names off the top of my head, but it's quite incredible. I clearly had gone through some breakup. Anyway, I wonder whether Peter David was playing with different masks and personalities, which I can understand. So anyway, he goes outside this bar. Ajax appears, or a man who's called Ajax, who talks like the old Hulk, and he's like, I will kill you, Ajax, smash you, that kind of stuff. Hulk beats him up. A few other people fight him. One called Atalanta, who fires like magical bows. There's a Hector. They're quite an interesting spread of Greek characters as well, aren't they? As in, they're not just Hector's was from the Trojan War. And then Achilles turns up. They've also got this weird car. So, which is like, I don't understand what that car is. It looks like a sort of red rocket on wheels. What made you think of that? It's funny though, I'm writing a script at the minute and there's some things in it and I go, why did I think of that? Why is that? Why would that be? Did I think that'd be a good thing? Maybe Peter David was the same with that weird car they go around in. Anyway, Achilles turns up and Hulk punches him. And Achilles has the line, nice try, nothing can hurt me. That's why I'm called Achilles. And then he notices blood is pouring out of his nose. So Hulk can hurt him.
Yes.
Sorry, Jamie, I think you were telling the story and I just ended it.
No, that is
That's
the story.
what happens a lot.
That is the story. But now you've got to that point, I would point out that, so for these sort of what we would consider still brilliant but minor characters in the Marvel Universe, I have been onto Wikipedia, which is something that we don't normally do.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of research into the characters just so that we can...
Dictionary corner, Jamie.
Yes.
Wikipedia corner. Yeah. So what did you get on Achilles? Can we hear a little bit more?
So the reason that he's bleeding is that it turns out that Achilles is vulnerable to low-level gamma radiation.
Of course. So, like the original Achilles.
Yes. Who only low-level gamma in the ankle, but nonetheless, so he can be hurt by Hulk. And I think it turns out to a lesser extent Banner as well. So it's just like basically low-level gamma radiation. And I'm sure Dan can tell us why he would be vulnerable to that.
Well, I have to hark back to the fact that you don't suddenly become radioactive just because you've been doused in, well, you've been exposed to the radiation. So I wag my finger at this a little bit. I'm afraid.
Quite right. That wouldn't change anything.
No, I don't think Hulk himself would be radioactive. He shouldn't be giving off.
You shouldn't be giving off
the gamma radiation in the first place.
So what radiation would make you radioactive? What does make you radioactive?
Look.
Do we want to go into that? No, we don't.
No, but
I watched an episode of Slow Horses and there was someone in it had been killed in the sort of Russian hit way with radiation. And they were like, get out, because there's radiation everywhere kind of thing. So but he'd been ejected by it. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if you're injected by it, then it wouldn't be then emitting. But I suppose your whole body's then radioactive and it's just giving off radiation.
Well, the thing that's giving off the radiation is what's been injected into him, not him himself. It's the thing itself is radioactive.
So that's coming through his body, through his skin.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we do a Slow Horses podcast instead?
I'll stay on after this.
Yeah.
So Achilles only appears in 32 comics. So perhaps that's why there's some quite unspecific information about him. So he's sensitive to a specific low-level gamma radiation. So presumably they can walk that back later on when a different kind of gamma radiation happens.
I like that, though, because at least there's a mystery there. I thought it was just like, the Hulk's, I thought it was just for the gag of going, I can't be hurt, but the Hulk's so strong that even Achilles can be hurt by him. But I'm glad there is actually an explanation. That makes it that little bit better.
So he just gets punched in the nose, really. And that's pretty much it.
In this issue.
For this issue. Yeah.
So these characters, they're called the Pantheon, just to explain. I can't remember exactly, but I don't think they'll come up again because presumably they're all in the list. I don't think they are actually the original Greek heroes. I think they're like a secret organization or something that have called themselves the Pantheon. and have taken on the identities of the Achilles and Ajax and stuff. I think that's right. They might even be aliens. I can't remember, but I think in the end, Achilles ends up being a villain. I only know that because I looked ahead on this list I found online of various things. Is where I find all the comics, and Achilles, which I should state the source, but I can't remember what it is. Achilles is. It says he's a villain in the last few appearances of his. So Hulk does join the Pantheon and they become this kind of group going around the globe solving problems. But then I think it turns out Achilles is actually, and possibly the leader, I think is called Agamemnon, and they're actually up to no good.
Well, we're going to have to get into this soon because Agamemnon, Ajax, and Atalanta are all mentioned. So presumably we're going to have a bumper crop in the A's.
Yeah. I don't think he's on that list, though. I don't know if they're on that list. I think whoever's compiled the Marvel Unlimited list, for some reason, out of all the Pantheon, they chose the one who seems to do the least. By the way, that list is the complete Marvel reading order, is what I'm using to find these comics, just to cite my source. So Achilles, I think we can jump past pretty quick, can't we? Even within...
Can I?
Yeah, please, Dan, please. Let's see. I haven't heard your take on him yet.
Yeah, I want to say that Mike Tyson was referenced in this comic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was. It was. I can't remember exactly where, but it said something like "it hits harder than Mike Tyson" or something like that. And there was a nice little connection. It made me think of to the Achilles situation, where Achilles gets punched in the face by Hulk and then bleeds. And Mike Tyson had this little phrase that he said that he had. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. That was Mike Tyson's little phrase, you see. And this appears to be the case with Achilles. He had a plan and then Hulk punched him in the face and things changed.
I wonder if that's deliberate. That might well be deliberate. Peter David does reference a lot of things and sometimes it's a bit annoying, especially it's very 90s or whatever. He'll often go like, hey, Beavis and Butthead, and stuff like that. He'll do a lot of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's a nice, lovely connection.
At the time, everyone would have applauded that and gone, "Oh, brilliant! What a good reference." And then now it's like, I don't even remember who are Beaver and Butt Munch. What?
I don't know if I like it though. I'd rather like. Do you like your Marvel referencing the real world?
It's difficult when it dates like that, and you have to go to Wikipedia to find out what it means.
It's a funny one because, like, the president. There's often this thing like, who is the president in the Marvel universe? Because sometimes it'll be this sort of anonymous president-y figure who might relate to someone. And then sometimes it's literally Barack Obama, or was, I don't think Trump's ever appeared, except sometimes like if the White House is blown up or something, they'll like sort of do a veiled reference to it or something. But yeah, it's a funny one. It's a funny one. Just
before we finish with Achilles, two of my favorite terrible jokes in this comic that I just want to get on record is there's a bit where during the fight, someone says to Hulk, "Oof, nice dodge," as he's hitting a car. And Hulk says, "Looks like a Buick, actually." And in the very next
I like the idea that he does. Sorry, my stand-up where I talk about my dad, how he used to do a joke and then sort of laugh at it. Yeah. Which I find it a really bizarre thing when people tell a joke like you go, "Oh, great weather of looks," The
guy actually does reply.
Hulk does that at that point. Sort of
the guy does reply.
To join in.
He says, "I meant nice move," and Hulk says, "Thank you." So they really wrap up that joke. And in the next panel, someone gets shot in the shoulder and just says, "Oh, great, my favourite shoulder."
That's not a bad joke.
No, I like that one.
That's fun. Okay, good jokes. Good jokes. Well done, Peter David, for all your wonderful jokes. We like Peter David. Do we like Peter David?
Yeah.
Maybe we should create our own little pantheon of writers here. I mean, how does he compare to Chris Claremont? God Loves Man Kills. He's not there, is he? But he's fun.
I'm seeing another podcast being made now.
What, the best writer? I did think about doing the best writers. All right, let's move on because I need to do some bloody writing. Let's do Aero next, because wow, that's a thin character, isn't it? I feel like. What did you think of Aero? I did not like. So my first ever introduction of Aero, just say, is Jamie. I know you play the Marvel Snap card game, don't you?
Yes.
Which is a lot of fun. I had to take it off my phone because it was taking a lot of my time up. But that's the first time I saw her, and I assumed she was just created for that, as a kind of, we need some new faces. Aero.
So I think Aero is part of the kind of let's expand Marvel into China. So I think with the movies, they started to do quite a lot of, like, there was a whole scene I think put in about Chinese laboratory. I can't remember which movie it was, one of the Avengers ones, or it may have been Ant-Man, but like basically big hero China scientists. And it's like, we need to get into that market. So Aero is the first kind of Chinese-based Marvel character. There were two, and I can't remember what the other one was. It's in the same issue.
Was it Wave?
Yes, Wave. Aero and Wave. Very similar characters.
Sorry?
Very similar characters. So Aero... Aero's power is that she can control the air, and Wave, she can control the water.
Yeah, specifically waves. Like that, it's just waves. She make them come in a bit faster, a little bit slower.
Yeah.
But Aero... so this comic is, the first half, it's split in two halves, both awful, I thought.
Yeah.
As a reading experience. The first half is, this is issue number 1, by the way, from 2019. The first half is, I think, written by a Chinese writer. I could just open it up, couldn't I? So I think that is an original, I say original, that's, so the writer is Zhao Li Fen. Artist is just called Keng, which is a very cool name, isn't it, for an artist? Keng. Keng, and it's been adapted by Greg Pak, who is a pretty good writer, actually. I'd say he's up there with Peter David. But it's just her flying around, fighting a building that's come to life, I think.
Yes, but the big twist about the building that's come to life for reasons pretty much unexplained is that her alter ego, when she's not being a superhero, is she's an architect. And she has designed a lot of this city, and including this building.
Interesting. Is that interesting for a superhero to be an architect? I mean, architects. Maybe not. Dan shaking his head.
I really don't like this character.
Maybe Marvel have a list of like jobs. It's like sooner or later, all of these, we're going to have to put like an alter ego against each of these jobs. So have we done netball coach yet? No. Have we done architect? No. Right. Let's.
I don't know. Did you look into it? Or I did briefly look into it, but I can't remember what I discovered, sorry. But I think basically, I don't know whether the creator created Aero and then sold it to Marvel, and Marvel like folded it into the Marvel universe, like whether it was already a Chinese...
She was created as a collaboration with a Chinese company called NetEase, who make, they're basically a technology company that make PC and mobile games and adverts and stuff. And they wanted to expand Marvel into, well, globally, they said, and they worked with them to make Aero and Swordmaster as well, who, again, I know from the Snap game, but I've not encountered in any of the comics as yet. But these were like her first appearances. She has appeared in a few others since. I found her in a very fresh character.
I found a couple of other Marvel Universe comics, but again, she has absolutely no personality or there's no drive but right, I suppose you have to tread carefully doing this, but China obviously is a totalitarian. Can we say it's totalitarian? It's certainly, what is it? I mean, it's technically a communist country, but I imagine I know they control the media. All right, that's what I'm trying to say. So it feels from the beginning, and I don't know whether I'm reading this, but in the way Peter David in that Hulk one is very cheeky about everything. Everything's a bit like blah and naughty, and do you know what I mean? He can make jokes about whatever. This feels like everything is like society is good. We are... Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I
don't think they've made a secret of that.
No,
I think they've been quite open. I mean, the very opening of the comic is, "Welcome to Shanghai, the biggest and most stunning city in the world."
So it's kind of got propaganda in it to some degree.
A little bit, yeah.
And that's why she's got no personality, because she can't. But then it made me think, in a sort of Brechtian type way, is the writer actually doing some secret naughty, not Brechtian way, but like those Polish writers, like Tom Stoppard plays what is it called? Cahoots Macbeth. We did it at drama school. I can't remember. But anyway, it was basically where in Poland, that was at the time under the Soviet Empire, was like putting out these plays in a sneaky way of kind of talking about stuff without talking about stuff. If you know what I mean. Anyway, I was like trying to find, in the way the buildings are becoming evil and attacking, is he trying to say, I don't even know if it is a male writer, in fact, are they trying to say, I don't know, something about the progress of all Shanghai and the beautiful city and all that has actually got an inherent evil running through it. I know, but then I sound like I'm saying China as inherent. I'm not trying to say that at any level. But it just felt like everything's treading on eggshells, and kind of we can't say anything in any way provocative or naughty here.
I think.
Did you get that? Or was I imagining that? Was that me prejudice?
You could consider it government propaganda, or you could consider it, Chinese tourist board, bigging up in a sort of nationalist sort of way, bigging up, the benefits of Chinese cities and the evil for which they stand. Maybe not the evil part. That sort of, yes, because towards the end of the comic, the city sort of starts to develop into demons, and it gets all very sort of hellscape.
Yeah, hellscape. You say it does become hellscape, and then the fighter pilots do come in and fight him. And they all seem very, it's just impossible to read without feeling, well, funnily enough, the second story, without going into it, is written by Greg Pak. So that's, I think, purely written by Greg Pak. And it's a really boring, nothingy story. But in that, you have a kind of Chinese super team who work for the government. And there is a bit of that feeling of, they're kind of doing work for the government. Do you know what I mean? You can't go against the government. You can't sort of do your own thing. It maybe has a little bit of that. But this first story, I feel like, is very much like, everything's fine. Do you know what I mean? Did you get that feeling? I mean, it's not. The bloody skyscrapers are attacking. But apart from that, everything is absolutely fine. Don't worry about it.
This comic in particular feels like a cold open for a TV show, where it's like, it's very brief. There's not a lot happening, but then there's sort of, at the same time, it's something really epic that's happening, but kind of in a sort of boring way.
What did you think, Dan? Any thoughts on Aero herself?
I mean, she said the phrase, "I've got a career, love, family, I've got it all." And at that point, I immediately wanted her to lose. I wanted something awful to happen straight away.
Well, I mean, that is going against the Marvel ethos, which is really, the heart of it is your Spider-Man, isn't it? Where it's like, I've got, my girlfriend's dumped me, my aunt could die at any point if she finds out I'm Spider-Man. I can't get a job. I keep getting sacked. Whereas this
felt like an influencer who'd got superpowers.
Yeah.
Living her best life, live life, love, or whatever it is.
Oh, she's so unlikable. But then I feel bad, because maybe like my 9-year-old daughter would read it and see her as quite an empowering,
Maybe it's for the younger people, perhaps.
And maybe they all are. Maybe we should
yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if this could be an amazing setup where, like, I'm sort of like cringing and twisting how I want something awful to happen, then it happens. It's given to me, and then it all goes a bit dark. What was it? My favourite thing in a comic, in a graphic novel, you have to help me out here. Alias. Is it Alias with Gem?
Jewel.
I'm going way off. Jewel,
have you read those ones, right? Jessica Jones, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all dark, and then there's that bit where you open it up and it's suddenly bright and colourful, where she's Gem, but something really awful happens in that bright and colourful section. So maybe if this is leading us down a path and then it's going to suddenly go all dark and everything's horrible for her, maybe, and it'd be interesting. I doubt it. It just feels like it's going to be dull.
I read ahead a bit, and It's not really.
Right.
A villain is introduced who you can see on the front cover, who's called Madam something, and she's kind of like quite an old-fashioned sort of Chinese villain. In fact, like a sort of something you'd see from the 50s or something. Like a sort of evil old lady with the. But yeah, I don't think so particularly. I don't think so. And I've weirdly enough, some other comics I've randomly read, like there's one called The Marvels. They put Aero in it, and The Marvels is like a sort of quite random collection of superheroes across time. She's one of them, and again, literally nothing, like no personality or anything. But in terms of that, like sort of trying to keep the status quo right and everything's fine. In a way, it does remind me a bit of the 60s comics like even they had a lot more going for them, but like even the X-Men where it's all like the military are good, bombs are good, like I guess in a way that's where this is at. So yes, a big thumbs down for Aero, I'm afraid, for all of us. So
although
finally,
I did learn something.
You did learn something,
Colin. If I, yeah,
oh yeah, what did you learn?
The noise that weaponized wind makes, and it is scracoom. A word which pops up quite a lot in this comic when she does a thing. Scracoom, or even shakoom.
I'm looking at it now, and immediately that's why I saw scracoom. It is a few times it appears. That's so Wolverine famously, when his claws come out, I don't know if you know this, but they make the noise snicket. SNIKT. So he's almost got a catchphrase, theme tune, sound effect. So I guess they're trying to do that with hers, but scracoom isn't. It's not a snicket, is it?
We need to give Abyss a mention for his frip.
Frip, of course. Yeah,
true. The greatest.
How would a scracoom go? Scracoom.
Yeah, but like windy. It's got to be sort of windy, isn't it? Like
scracoom. It's not good.
I know.
It's not good. There is a crackadoom later, and then another scracoom. Yeah, they're really trying pushing this scracoom. A little side note: when you read these comics, do you notice? Because you obviously do, Dan. But do you notice the sound effects? I never do, unless they're very specifically placed. I guess I would have noticed the fripping and the snickets. Or like his here, her phone's ringing. It literally says ring ring. Or when she's on the computer, it says tack tack. Tack, tack, tack. Don't know if we need that. I quite like that, actually. Bit of. But do you notice them? Do you I literally don't see them. I'm unaware I've seen them unless I focus.
I think the ones you mentioned are the only ones that I've picked up on.
Okay. It's just fascinating, just artistically to me, that how a comic works, because it's always worked for me because I've read them since I was tiny, but like what are you hearing in your head? Are you hearing like noise and stuff? And if someone punches someone, if the Hulk hits someone and they fly across and smash into a building, do you kind of hear that in your head as you're reading it? Do you think? Gosh, it's getting very deep, isn't it?
I probably don't, actually.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
I think I spot it because like one of my favorite paintings there's a 60s pop art painting. I think is it Roy Lichtenstein?
Roy Lichtenstein, yeah.
That's called Wham. And it's almost exactly one of these panels. It's a plane shooting a missile into another thing, and it just says Wham in great big letters. So yeah. I think I do notice the shakooms and the booms. Also, a big fan of Batman, you see, with all of the 1960s Batman, very strange words coming up as people hit people.
That's a good point, because I think people who aren't really into comics, who haven't really read them, and still think superheroes are like, which you do get, people still think they're like the 1960s Batman. It's probably what a lot of, especially older people, still think of when they think of superheroes. Bryan Cranston did the voice of Commissioner Gordon in one of the animated Batmans. And initially, apparently, he didn't want the job because he thought, or they offered him, and he said he turned it down because he thought Batman was still like 1960s Adam West Batman. So he literally had no contact with Batman since then, which is probably the right way to do it. I think I'm the wrong way, reading every single Batman comic ever. But I think a lot of people do think of comic books having that. Like if you did a sketch on a TV show of a comic book thing, you probably have people going wham bam, shakoom.
I
don't think of them at all in terms of comics. It doesn't enter my head, the sound effect thing.
I think people who grew up in the kind of 90s as well, The Simpsons, which has a very big influence on, certainly on me and my generation, I think. They had a spoof version of Batman that was even kitschier and campier than the 60s one. And that's what stays with me. Sometimes I think some of those characters are legitimate Batman characters, like the Scoutmaster in The Simpsons.
Oh, from The Simpsons? I don't know those ones. I don't know, but that was referenced in that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, finally, let's do the linchpin of the Marvel Universe. It is Mr. Adam Destine. Right, hit me. What's going on? Dan, what was your take on Adam Destine?
Well, I know Jamie's got a secret hankering to actually play Adam Destine in a future adaptation. So I feel like I don't want to take too much away from Jamie on this one, but the interesting look of the comic, it looked quite almost like fantasy style, and then it had a family tree with Adam Destine, a genie, I think, I don't know, and then like lots of other people who it looked like he'd fathered, but who looked older than him. So I was like, this is bizarre and interesting. And then we then meet a little kid called Rory who's getting bullied at school, who dreams of having powers, then does have powers. So it's kind of like flipping around all over the place. I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. And then eventually we do finally get back home and we meet Adam. Now, Jamie, do you want to take it? Because I don't want to take this from you.
No. I mean, my first thought is it Destine? Is it Destine? Or is it Destin? Is there a French twang in this?
Well, the comic is called Clandestine, which is obviously a pun.
It took me ages to work out that was a pun.
It's a pun, but it's not actually a great pun because clandestine is clandestine as in
hidden or secret.
Hidden, yeah. And it says along the top, they live among us. Beware the clandestine. But it's a pun as in they are a clan, a family of Adam Destine. It's a bit of a reach, isn't it, if I'm honest?
Yeah. So this family tree that's in the very beginning of the comic, which is, Clandestine, I think it's 2008, I think.
This is actually the second limited series of Clandestine. I didn't do the first because I looked through it and he didn't appear at all. So I jumped to the second one. So there you go.
Yeah, so I mean, I did wiki this up because there's a lot going on here. Like these are all characters that we've not met before. Certainly, I mean, me personally, and none that I've heard of. But it looks like old Adam Destine and Jin have been very busy making a huge family tree.
She's an actual Jin, a genie. The Jin.
Genie. Yeah. Yes. I mean, looking back on the wiki, it goes back to 1168 AD and Saxon village of Ravenscroft in England, and Adam, or a man named Adam, was severely injured after falling on a scythe. It's a schoolboy error, that, isn't it?
Fell on a scythe.
Fell on a scythe.
But was the scythe sticking up? I mean, how would that even work?
I don't know. It's like tripping over a rake, but kind of more intense. I've lost my feet now.
What a terrible superhero origin. Injured by a scythe.
As he was he was near death, but was recovered after dreaming about an angel who he fell in love with. And from that day forwards, he was known as Adam of Destin or Destine. Then he was in the Crusades. Went to Persia, and then at the end of that, he freed a genie that he'd met years ago, and I suspect the genie is the angel that heals his wounds, and she granted him immortality and invulnerability. Whether his ankle was a soft spot, I don't know.
Oh, he got immortality and invulnerability?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then, throughout his history, it basically goes through the entire human history. Marco Polo and Genghis Khan, he goes to China, he goes to Tibet, there's some business in Japan. He basically just lives alongside, the history of the world.
But does he keep having children with the genie? Or
yes.
Are they, because these are all the genie's children, but some of them are older, two of them are literally kids who I think don't realize, because I did look at the original one, I think don't realize they've got powers at first or something. They don't realize that they're part of the clandestine. But like, does the genie just keep coming back and they mate?
Well, he's got wishes,
and she goes away again because she's not here anymore. And they're like...
Presumably he just rubs a lamp and she appears.
And ready for another child.
Yes.
And they've all sort of got superpowers because their mum's a genie, I think, is the idea.
Yeah. And I mean, Dad's fell on a scythe, so...
He's not... Well, his problem is he doesn't ever use a bloody sheath. So one of his kids is called Albert, looking at the thing, and Albert is like an 80-year-old man. That would be weird, wouldn't it? So maybe they get to a certain point, and at that point they stop aging.
There's also Newton, who looks like Woody Allen to me.
Clearly Woody Allen. It's clearly Woody Allen.
That leapt off the page for me.
One of his kids is Woody Allen. I mean, does that explain a lot? If your mum was a djinn, it would mess you up, wouldn't it? It would cause some odd behaviour, perhaps.
Yeah. So in this comic, his youngest children, the 16, they're dreaming about being superheroes, but aren't yet. So it's like one of Adam's other skills is precognition. Pretty big skill, top drawer skill.
Yeah.
And technologically invisible as well.
What, the children? One of the children?
Adam, he can...
Adam is? Oh, he's got loads of powers.
He's visible in the portion of the electromagnetic spectrum perceivable to humans, but he's invisible to scans using higher wavelengths. So presumably that's to... I'll throw that to Dan to try and sort that out.
Yeah, okay. No, only in the higher wavelengths.
Only in the higher wavelengths.
Not the lower wavelengths. So, okay, so...
lower wavelengths, there he is, over there. The guy with the scythe.
Got him.
Is lower wavelength as in our eyes? Is that what that means?
We see between, there's like the infrared, ultraviolet.
Oh, okay,
We'll sit at the either ends of our. Well, I mean, we can't see infrared. They're the beyond the boundaries of our vision. Yeah. So maybe in infrared. Am I right in saying he could be detected, but going beyond the other side, he can't be. It's quite a strange power.
Mm.
But he's got all the other powers by the sounds of things. Has he got too many powers?
I like as well, at the end, they throw in, he's highly skilled in sword and hand-to-hand combat. And it's like, you don't really need that if you're invulnerable, to be fair.
Well, you'd hope so, wouldn't you? You don't. But he's got to protect his kids, I suppose.
Yes.
One of them has been killed, Vincent, according to this.
Well, he killed him.
I'm looking at... No, there's one called Vincent who's dead. I don't know why.
Didn't Adam kill Vincent?
Oh, my God.
If I've read that correctly.
And Vincent gone evil. Oh, that's quite good. Feels like quite a good concept, doesn't it? It feels like... So my take on it is it's quite an exciting concept, which I welcome to the Marvel Universe, an original take. It's not just like, here's a new superhero, he's got this power, his name's whatever. It's like, oh, there's this whole family, this whole history. But I feel like it's like a lot of TV shows that I watch at the minute, the sort of sci-fi based ones or whatever, where they've got a good concept and then it just becomes quite nothingy once you get past that. That's what it feels like to me. Like all the dialogue is very lame and slow, isn't it? And sort of, there's not a lot of movement. And also I hate that they just all want to be superheroes. It's like, one of them's just called Wallop. He's a big blue man called Wallop. But, yeah, they don't have a cause particularly or stuff. You've got all the mystery and all that, but it just feels like, an interesting idea that is never really developed. That's my take.
I do love, so they list his weaknesses or vulnerabilities and he only has one, which is emotional detachment. And it says, having watched many of his children grow old and die, he came to see his long existence as a curse And because of his invulnerability, his senses were numbed. He felt neither pleasure nor pain, or exhibited any signs of survival instinct. Never twitching or fidgeting, because he never tires. Only a vague awareness of his life. He's emotionally detached, with a constant aloofness, as if he was bored of human existence.
You see, I don't know who's written that, because I don't get that from the character at all. He just seems like a sort of Nigel Havers type character. Do you know what I mean? Just like quite a nice, jolly English chap with lovely, some of the best hair we've seen in comics so far, I think. I think he even rivals Magneto and his Roy Walker do. But he seems pretty emotionally together. And presumably when he's summoning the genie for a bit of nookie, he's pretty emotionally attached still. I don't know.
He's lost the kid, needs to make another one.
Oh, it's just pure. It's just like a factory now.
Killed Vincent. I need a new one.
Do you know what? I think that is, and maybe it does develop, but I don't think it ever does. Maybe that is the problem with this, is there's not really a goal to the Clandestine. Do you know what I mean? If it turned out they were trying to take over the world, that would be exciting. I mean, there was actually a secret, but I think they just keep making more, and then they have a bit of an adventure. I think. So the writer and artist is a legendary guy, Alan Davis. He worked with Alan Moore a lot on Captain Britain and stuff like this. And lovely Chris Claremont, he worked with him a lot. So, well done, Alan Davis, for creating this. Maybe if he'd done it with Alan Moore or someone, there would have been an exciting development. I'm not sure. Mr. Davis, oh God, that sounded awful. I'm not sure Mr. Davis, that sounded like a horrendous review from sort of the enemy. I'm not sure Mr. Davis quite has what it takes to blah, blah, blah. Anyway. Yeah,
I think that sounds to me like something Adam Destine would say when he's writing into the Telegraph
emotionally
to complain
detached
about one of their reviews. He's
emotionally
detached of Tunbridge Wells.
Emotionally detached Tunbridge Wells. That's very funny. Lovely. Well, I guess we have to pick one of those three and then give them some ratings. Who do we go for?
Well, it ain't Aero, surely.
It ain't Aero. I guess Adam Destine.
I mean, Achilles did so little, and Adam has so much promise.
I don't know. Do you know what? I think I like Achilles more, actually. What do you think, Jamie? I know Adam Destine is your calling, if you will.
I mean, fantastic head of hair, immaculately dressed. It's kind of not me, really.
You've got a fantastic head of hair.
I have a fantastic
really
head of hair,
but I
dress like a badger in a wardrobe. Not unsure of what to attack.
Like a Badger in a Wardrobe by Jamie Firth. I think, okay, should we go for Achilles? Dan?
I mean, he took a punch from the Hulk to the face.
He did.
And he sort of smiled and then went, I've got some blood coming out. I mean, that's impressive. That's
impressive. There's a cheekiness to him as well. Right, let's quickly give his stats then. So, likability, pretty, based on what we have, reasonably high.
Yeah, nothing not to like.
I mean,
6.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know the man yet. I feel like
you don't know the man.
I've seen him across the bar. He's smiling. He seems all right. We've not had a conversation.
All right. Let's go 6, because he's not unlikable already.
All right. Okay.
Longevity. Well, he's not immortal, but he is invulnerable, except his heel and gamma radiation.
Mm.
Longevity. Well, he only appeared in 32 issues, but I feel like he could have kept going. I think I'd like to see. I guess we're talking more about the pantheon here, aren't we, rather than him specifically? I'd give that 6 again as well. Realism, very realistic. The whole gamma radiation thing, that is 4. This is so pointless. Coolness. He's pretty cool. He's got a lovely white suit and a sort of red sash going across. But then he does get punched.
All right. Okay.
Should we give him 7 for that? No, let's give him 6. And finally, what was the last one?
Well, you've got your adorability. Your adorability.
Originality. Well, he's Achilles.
It was literally taken from something else.
3. Okay, great. Well, he's got a total.
Yep.
He's doing too well,
25.
isn't he?
He's got 25. He's got 25 points. So let's see how he ranks. I didn't actually end up taking our first 5. So the idea is, right, if I got this right, we take from every 5 episodes, we take 1 to go to the next round, plus a God tier character. Last time it was Magneto. I think it was Abyss who won. I haven't actually checked the stats, but I will, I promise.
Achilles cannot beat Abyss, please.
You really liked Abyss. That was the biggest shocker for me, that you were such an Abyss fan.
I think, again, it's the concept. I haven't read on to see if they deliver on the concept very well, but I think that concept had such great potential, being able to steal people's hope. Oh, that was great.
And we saw a few different elements of his character, didn't we? We saw different... Like, to be fair, we've only read one Achilles, but I don't think he changes that much. I think he becomes villainous at the end, but I don't even think that's like, I think he's still essentially the same as what you see here. Wonderful. Well, thanks everyone for listening. I enjoyed that. We could just talk forever about anything, couldn't we? I feel. And must.
Good.
It's my greatest joy in life doing this podcast, apart from my family and children and my career and nature. But do you still love nature, Dan?
I do love nature. I just wouldn't have a pet, that's all. Look,
no. Right.
Your rabbit is beautiful.
Okay, if you like this show, or if you don't like it, but you want to encourage us to make it better, please sign up to patreon.com/abombtozzzax, where you can support us. I'm still getting around to sorting out the tiers, but what that will happen will mean you can listen to extra episodes. We've already got an extra bit about God Loves, Man Kills, which is going on there. And you can also tell us what particular heroes you would like to hear about. Maybe you could choose some comics for us in particular if you want. Get involved, be part of the system. Like Aero, be part of the system and stop asking questions. We've got some Patreon goals. My first Patreon goal, I want to buy an actual Magneto helmet, which is on sale right now from the X-Men 97 cartoon, which I urge everyone to watch. So that's the first goal we've got. And I'll let you know when we've got enough money to buy it. And then I'll buy it, and then we can each have it for a week at a time and pass it around each other's houses. Lovely. Thanks, Jamie and Dan. And Daniel Reed, lovely eyes on legs. Blew him a kiss then for doing the sound and editing and everything. See you next time when we are meeting. Let me check my list. Does anyone know? Who are we meeting next week? Of course, another Adam. Another Adam. It's Adam Warlock. Ooh. A bit more to say with him than we do with Adam Destine, I think. Of the Adams, he's probably the better Adam, I dare say. Dan and Jamie, but particularly Dan, I've got a feeling you're going to be a fan of Adam Warlock.
Oh, really?
I could be wrong, but I feel like, particularly of that comic, I think, Jim Starlin is one of the great creators. And he's not the creator of Adam Warlock, I don't think, but he's certainly the one who made him the man he is today. If you want a little taste of Adam Warlock, you can watch Guardians of the Galaxy #3, the movie, where a version of him appears, very different to the one you're going to meet. But if you want to watch it, go for it. All right. See you next week. Bye-bye.